All right, hello everybody, how's it going? Welcome to our very first Cannabis Cup in Las Vegas. It's a very exciting time for High Times to be in Nevada as there's new cannabis laws, and it's great to be a part of all that. My name is Mike Giannakis. I'm the editor-in-chief for High Times magazine, and we're really excited to have a great group of panels this entire weekend. We hope you guys will keep coming out for them. But the first panel, they're going to be talking about veterans and cannabis, and it's going to be hosted by Mike Whiter, who is a photographer and a United States Marine Corps veteran. And actually, I don't know if you saw the April issue of High Times, but he shot that cover. So they're going to be talking more about that. He'll introduce this panel, but please give a big welcome to Mike Whiter.
Thank you, Mike. Hey everybody, my name is Mike Whiter. I am a United States Marine Corps combat veteran from Philadelphia, and I was over-medicated by the VA when I got out of the Marine Corps. I had a lot of problems, and long story short, I found cannabis. Cannabis saved my life, just like every one of these vets up here. So we're here now to share our stories with you and let you know what we did to help ourselves and to get into recovery from post-traumatic stress disorder, and for me and some other veterans from pill addiction. So we're going to start off with Darren Carpenter. Darren?
How are you doing? U.S. Army, 1st Ranger Battalion, combat, paramedic, 5 tours, Afghanistan and Iraq. Seen it all too clearly. A lot of buddies, getting out of service, not understanding, where they fall in society, severe depression issues, over-medicated by the VA. Decided to jump into an industry that has a huge future in truly helping people from a medical perspective. That's my background, obviously, as a paramedic, heavy science background. Been in cannabis for about 8 years now. And truly want to see, this industry thrive and bring help to those that need it. Had a few of my Ranger buddies. Okay, cool. Sorry, moving on.
My name's Sean Judge, United States Army 173rd Marine Surveillance Detachment. Myself, I was a paramedic for about a dozen years, and at the end of it with the cumulative stress, it just wasn't working, VA beds and such like that. So I'm also a recovering opiate addict, co-founder of New England Veterans Alliance, and we pass the word as much as we can to investors, get people off, or to get veterans the education from pharmaceuticals and alternative care to what we've found to work for ourselves.
My name is Ellen Brown, and I am with the New England Veterans Alliance. I am an Air Force veteran. I was an educator in the Air Force, and I am an educator now in the civilian world. I work at different cannabis institutions across the East Coast, and then I also founded Sensomia Seminars, and we hold free classes just for veterans. I think it's important we learn how to grow for ourselves. We learn how to make all our cannabis byproducts like edibles, concentrates, RSO oil, learn about those cannabinoids. Education is definitely the way to go.
I'm Sarah Stenuf. I'm a retired Army veteran, 15 Romeo Apache crew chief. I sustained a head injury while in service and it caused epilepsy. And now I'm a freelance advocate. I'm a co-founder of Women's Veterans Collective and a member of NEVA. And I help advocate for veterans to get off synthetic pills and turn into plant-based medicine.
I'm Pearson Crosby, United States Marine Corps. 2 deployments in Iraq between 04 and 07. Got out, got into engineering school, got addicted to a lot of medication the VA was prescribing me. Led into heroin, and after exhausting all the VA programs, I decided to lock myself in my house and get clean, and cannabis is the only thing that really got me through it.
How you doing? My name is Cloutier. I'm also co-founder and president of New England Veterans Alliance. Not to touch base on what some of our other members said, but we are an organization that advocates for veterans. I'm also a veteran, Marine combat vet. I served in Fallujah, Iraq in 2006 with 1st Battalion, 25th Marines. As soon as I got out there, I got a job in Department of Corrections where I worked for about 5 years, which is probably the worst job you could go into getting out of the military with PTSD. But I thought it was a good job at the time. It was good benefits, and I ended up drinking a lot, and alcohol became a part of my life where it just numbed the part of me that made me feel normal, made me feel okay, but I was destroying everything around me. And I ended up getting in trouble with some law enforcement down in Tennessee. Ended up going to rehab for about 30 days down in Florida and came back. Thought I was losing my job. I got a service dog, and I applied for an accommodation. And after I applied for the accommodation, they said that they wouldn't accommodate me. So now I actually have discrimination case against them for that. But fellow veteran Sean Judge over here, also co-founder, said that he suggested I should try getting into cannabis and using cannabis, and I did. I slept like a baby, and ever since then we've been full steam ahead helping veterans and just getting the word out there. And anything you can do is the best thing that you can do is talk about cannabis and tell people about how it helps you, and it's just been amazing in our lives.
All right, guys, thanks so much. So how many of you guys smoked cannabis regularly before your military service? Any of you? No, nobody.
Smoked in high school, but that's
but not like all the time, right? So a lot of the problems that I have in Philadelphia is getting veterans to open up about cannabis. What have you found to be a useful tool in helping veterans open up to cannabis? Whoever wants to.
Honestly, to just getting vets together and smoking a joint, and once you start smoking, you're in that group mentality, the camaraderie, being together. You start letting down your inhibitions, and you let things out that you don't normally talk about. You start talking about things that you don't normally talk about. You get outside of that comfort zone. It allows us to do so many things that, as you know, and it's that in itself. And then just going to veterans' houses and talking to them, let them know that they're not alone, that they're not the only ones going through it. It's been an amazing thing to connect veterans with other veterans dealing with what they're dealing with.
Well, I'm also from Philadelphia. I actually live in Fairbanks, Alaska right now, but I come home each year to train in Philadelphia Police Department for Veterans Court graduation, which I was also a part of. I got a DUI, overdose coming home from the methadone clinic and woke up in handcuffs. So I went through Veterans Court, and I go back there every year and I talk to the judges, the elected officials, and who know my story, and see how much my life has changed from the use of cannabis. So I was a wreck 3 years ago, and they all saw how bad I was until I found cannabis.
So a lot of you guys grow, right? Do you find that to be a therapeutic thing? Go ahead.
There's something really beautiful about being able to grow your own medicine and figure out what strains are best for you, what cannabinoid profiles are best for you, and also as a cultivator, I try to grow strains that I know will be beneficial for other veterans. So I think that's really important, is that we're a community and we take care of each other better than a lot of people, better than the media takes care of us. We're there for each other. We're a definite support system.
Who else that grows?
I think it's a very beneficial thing. Just being able to grow your own medicine and see it go from seed to product to heal yourself, and then get the beneficial relief behind it is, there's no more gratifying thing than to be able to grow your own medicine. Just a therapy of sitting and staring inside your tent or your grow room, and it relaxes you. It's awesome.
That's one of the things I've found. Photography is my therapy. And we all kind of need to find our purpose in life again after the military. So, I'm sure you all have found your new purposes in life. Let's share a little bit about that. Darren, let's start with you. What's your new purpose? Because we've kind of all reinvented ourselves from being military members to cannabis activists and advocates. So we've all kind of gotten a little bit better and reinvented our lives. I would say that I'm on my 5th life at this point. As many changes as I've been through in my life, I'd say this is my 5th personality change. So, Aaron, how about you?
Just becoming an advocate for the industry. There's too large of a community of vets and other people that are sick that can truly benefit from this. So I've taken my past experience in the military as a paramedic, that medical knowledge, and have really applied it to what I do now, which is cultivate cannabis, and being an advocate for the industry. Talking to people that may think it's a taboo industry, but really trying to, educate them and seeing them turn around and then, accepting the benefits of it. So education is probably my biggest, biggest change. Try to get it out there and spread the word.
My past experience is sort of similar. When I went off the deep end one of the most scariest times in 2009, I hit my fucking face on the ground, and I was scared. I thought I was a pretty experienced and pretty knowledgeable dude, but I ended up in a rehab halfway house after spending a couple weeks in Brockton, VA, detoxing, and then starting a wave of pharmaceuticals. And through meeting other people in public safety, veterans who were returning, because right now, that was 2009, the war was like, 8 years into it, almost 9 years into it, so a lot of dudes and girls were coming back and they were messed up. And I remember just smoking weed here and there at the rehab while I was going through it, and I was like, I didn't know what was going on, but I felt better. And as soon as I started picking up on little things here and there and educating myself more and being a little more open-minded and willing, there was a term recovery that I learned. It was called terminal uniqueness, where you just think that your problem's so unique to yourself that you bury yourself in your own isolation. You just end up cutting yourself off, and that's your demise. The public safety background that I had, the military background, the recovery background that I had, it was a perfect opportunity and catalyst to spread that message to those certain groups, because each one listened, each one has responded back in the several years we've been doing this. We have police officers that call us in the middle of shifts looking for help for vets that are fucking jammed up and just come back from an overdose on Narcan. That means a lot. That means that service needs to be in place, whether it's run by municipality, private service, or whatever. It needs to exist. This is not a last resort. It's not an exit. It is an exit drug. It's not a gateway drug to get into more. It's certainly one to recover and heal from. And we should be using it not only just as a front line, but as common knowledge, family medicine, and not be afraid to have to use it or have to be able to explain it when our family or our lives that it's a beneficial plant in a medicine. My doctor, personally in the private sector, is very open to it. This is in Rhode Island, and as of recently, my care in the VA has been extremely sympathetic to how I've been medicating over the past couple of years, and has also responded pretty positively, considering my opiate addiction, my alcoholism, my levels of PTSD. I have not had any of those circumstances occur in my life since leaving alcohol and opiates, which is arrests, criminal activity, overdoses, health problems, family problems, domestic problems. The list goes on and on. So I hope that answers it.
So when I was in the Air Force, like I said, I was an educator. So when I got back out of the Air Force, I started educating myself on cannabis, and I got into the cannabis industry. I started as a trimmer, and then I became a bud tender, and then I became the manager, and then I became a cultivator, and then I became the head cultivator. Which just goes to show that you can start from anywhere knowing nothing and then really grow yourself within the industry, which I think is so important. So I took my knowledge and I brought it back to the East Coast, where there was a lack of knowledge. And I figured the more people I can reach, the more people they can reach. I don't want to, give somebody an edible. I want to teach a man to fish. I want to teach you how to make your own edibles. The best edibles for you, the best saw for you, the best tincture for you. What other holistic herbs can we add? And then can you go and teach it to somebody else? So I think the more people that I am able to reach, the more people they're able to reach. And we're really doing a fantastic job in our generation creating that much needed paradigm shift to get away from the stigma that we've been under. It would be really great if the VA would be more accepting of cannabis. I feel like that should be a first prescription, definitely over the pharmaceuticals. Is a horrible, it's an opiate epidemic, which primarily our veterans are being overly prescribed. We have 22 veterans a day, so it's really important that we're able to educate each other and be that support system for each other. I think is so important. So my passion is to educate, advocate, and then empower each other. So if we're all here for each other, we're going to be able to really make a difference, because we're all from different parts of the United States, but we share the same message, so it's just about reaching out.
Hi, my name is Serna, as I said. My passion comes from helping people break the silence. As I stated, in the Army, I got a head injury, and I sustained epilepsy from it, as well as insomnia and chronic pain. And after a while, the pills just started adding up. So I needed another pill for another side effect, and next thing you know, I had a fishing tackle box full of 13 pills. And I got to the point where I was just sick and tired of living every hour, by the hour, on a different pill. And of course, on the side, I was mixing it with cocaine and alcohol because I needed it to fill my voids. I needed the escape. I suffered PTSD as well, so the isolation was just normal to me. So the drugs and the alcohol came with all the pills. So after a while, I got sick and tired of everything, and after a few suicide attempts, I decided that I wanted a different path. You know, I had a son, I had a family, and I wanted something different. And I told my wife that it was either I change or I'm gonna do my final attempt and I will be successful. So I have a cousin who's into cannabis, and he introduced me to not just the recreational side of just intaking it, but knowing about it, how it goes into our body, our endocannabinoid system, our CB1 and CB2 receptors. And after a while, I realized that all my meds just started coming off my list, and I didn't need my PRNs. My fishing tackle box went bye-bye. But at the same time, it also allowed me to be vulnerable and weak, in a sense. I know everybody hates that word weak, but it's okay, you know? It allowed me to share my story. It allowed me to be open. And when I realized, I started sharing my story, I realized there was other vets out there that had the same freaking story, you know? We're all sitting there, maybe not the same exact one, but the same symptoms, the same isolation, the same needing, the dependencies, the feeling of uselessness, the worthlessness. And I realized that what was hurting us the most was the silence, the fear that judgment was going to take over, that we're going to be weak if we can't be open. And I realized, you know what, we need to break the silence. If it takes me to be weak, if it takes me to be vulnerable, it takes me to have that fear of judgment go past me, because there's nothing that nobody in here can say or do that I already haven't done to myself and already done to myself. So if there's a chance for all of us to be weak together and come together in a community, we can break the silence, and we can stop this 22 a day. We can get people off synthetics, and we can get people back to plant-based medicine, back to nature, and learn how to holistically balance ourselves and eat right and exercise and educate ourselves on how to be happy. And I think breaking the silence is the key way on how to do that.
Well, I mean, it's exactly that. If you're willing to make certain things in your life public to help others, you shouldn't hesitate. Since my recovery, I became a peer mentor at the Philadelphia Veterans Court, an Alaskan tribal veterans representative, the Veterans Outreach Director for Team Red, White, and Blue. Not that any of them, not that I'm here on any of their behalfs, but I found that if there's a veteran that uses marijuana and is having issues, sitting down and talking to them for a few minutes over a joint helps so much more than going in and sitting in a white room talking to a psychiatrist. It's one of those things that you can really change people's point of view as long as you are able to talk about it, willing to. It's not something to be ashamed of. And the veterans community, at least the guys up in Alaska, it's recreationally legal there, so it's not like you're taking them out, mentoring them, and doing something illegal. And I found that taking them out into the wilderness, smoking a joint, and letting them hash out their demons for that brief time definitely helps more than a bar situation or sitting in front of someone that can't relate to them.
Derek?
So, just to segue into what you were saying, Mike, about how you've lived so many different lives. I mean, I say that on a daily basis. I feel like I'm constantly saying I've lived like 10 different lives at this point. I've done so many different things. And in my short life of 35 years, I feel like the life experience and the pain in my body just from chronic pain and alone, it feels like I'm an 80-year-old man. But how I find my way into cannabis and helping vets has been just getting them out of the house. I mean, me and Sean started bringing vets to appointments and taking them out like 4 or 5
totally
at a
wanna
time,
hit
going
that.
to a doctor's appointments. And the doctor would go through
Absolutely.
the ordeal with them, talking about what the different cannabinoids and how it's beneficial for them, and then he'd run them through separately. And after we started doing that, we just started having social enrichment activities, getting together, getting guys out of the house. And that social isolation is, I mean, it's a killer when it comes to suicide. And like Sarah mentioned about the 22 a day, it's upwards of 40 or maybe 45, 50, because there's so many states that aren't documented right now. And that's an epidemic, that's horrible. But cannabis has been something that we've been able to get vets out of their house, get them together in a safe environment, give them access and resources to caregivers that are willing to help them out, that actually care, getting them quality meds that aren't sprayed with a ton of different chemicals. You know, I mean, this has been something that we've done, and I've built a support system for myself basically around that. I mean, I wouldn't be doing half the stuff that I'm doing now if it wasn't for half the people on this panel right now, because I mean, they drive me and push me to do so much, and they keep me telling me to do it. I mean, I'm nervous as hell just sitting here talking to everybody here. But I mean, I'm a one-on-one person, but when I smoke weed, it makes me feel great. I mean, I feel I can talk to any one of you. It's amazing. I don't know. But at the end of the day, I say this: how are you going to tell a vet that has lost a leg or an arm or a limb or anything, or has been blown up or shot or anything, that, you know, oh, you should go back on medication, you should go back on those opiates, and you should go to the VA and let them give you whatever medication you are, and be a yes man? Because at the end of the day, they're just going to keep giving you these medications. It's up to you if you want to take them or not. And they're not for everybody. They're not for me. Maybe they're not for anybody on this panel. But I mean, certain things help us get out, and I can't emphasize enough on getting out, speaking, and telling people about our stories. And that's what we're doing, and that's what I found myself doing after so many different lives.
You're good. No. So you've heard a lot of these vets talk about 22 a day. Do you all know what that means? There's 22 veterans. Their statistic is 22 veterans commit suicide every day in this country. Every 65 minutes, a veteran takes his or her life. And that statistic is only reported by 27 states out of the 50 states that belong to this country. So when you figure 22 veterans are reported by 27 states, it's probably more like 40, like Derek said. And you know, that's a disgusting statistic when you think about it. These are the people that, you know, went through hell and came home just to live through another hell. And a big part of that problem is over-medication. You know, the VA prescribes you medications in abundance. You know, at one point, over a period of 5 years, I was on 40 different medications for anxiety, depression, chronic pain. You know, they had me on methadone and Klonopin at the same time. If you don't know what that means, methadone is an opiate replacement, and Klonopin is a benzodiazepine. And when you mix those two drugs together, it really suppresses your respiratory system, it suppresses your heart rate, and a lot of people just drop dead and die. And those medications, some of them have increased risk of suicidal thoughts or actions listed as a side effect, and the VA just prescribes these pills, and veterans are offing themselves in ridiculous
That's for the first month. The whole first month, you have an increased risk of suicide attempts for SSRIs.
Yeah, I tried overdosing on purpose 3 times, and you know, all 3 times I was put in the VA for 30 plus days each time as an inpatient.
A lot of my problem was after I was not responsible enough to take the medication on time, or I would not refill it, and I'd have to wait an extra 10 days to get the refill, and then the line just to get the refill was, well, the appointment, it's ridiculous. And I found myself starting to get really depressed, really you do get those fucked up
And then you get into that cycle of depression and.
It's also the damage on your body. I have friends that have been on heavy prescription medications for close to a decade or over a decade, so you can only imagine what that's doing internally. So it's not ever like, how do we fix this? It's just continuing to prescribe.
That is a big part of the problem. And in that number 22 a day, that doesn't even include accidental overdoses. And how many of you have accidentally overdosed? I'm sure, or purposely overdosed. The pills, those pills, while they'll take away the anxiety, they'll take away the depression, but they'll take away your entire personality on top of that. So, like I said, I sat on my couch and drove myself for 5 years. And then one day I just stood up and I said, "Fuck this! I can't live this life anymore." And a lot of us, how many pills were you guys on at any particular point in time? Who wants to take this?
13.
Yeah, 13. Everything from Klonopin, Oxycontin, fentanyl, Prozac.
And you could have a problem and just. I've gone to the VA numerous times when I was drug seeking at a point, and I would go to the VA and ask them, particularly specifically
the back steps down by building 3 next to the methadone clinic. Put it on your countered heroin.
So how do you guys feel about what's going on with the government right now, and where we stand with cannabis?
Get them.
With this administration, they were talking about this cup being the feds are not happy about this cup, and they were going to intervene. How do you guys feel about that? It's going to make our jobs a little bit harder, don't you think?
I think it's all about support. At this point, I personally believe in civil disobedience. I believe it's important to practice it. I believe grassroots. We can start a lot of changes even at our local levels. We can start going to our local politicians, our local government, start getting rid of basic laws, decriminalization, paraphernalia, start helping people expunge old records. We can start from the local level and start doing some grassroots movements. Something like this where we get bullied by the federal government. It's important for us to still come together as a community, practice our civil disobedience, show them that we can be respectful, we're not being defiant, we're here because we know it's right. We're here because we know that this is better than pills, that this is better than the heroin. And I think that bullying is just creating fear that we just can't stand for. So coming together and showing support and advocating, I think is the most important thing right now. Coming together as a community.
I think what we're doing right now is the most important value of it. I call my Instagram living proof. We say that living proof is, we use the hashtag living proof as part of New England Veterans Alliance social media because that's what we feel we are. If we do it and do well, lead productive lives, show them that we can do this without having to take all that medicine or use it in conjunction with medicine, be productive citizens, people are going to pick up on that. They're going to stop following our lead. We have people in the community that love and support us have with open arms. Just face value right now, I see Eve. I'd like to give a shout out to the pharmacist, Tetrahydra Club down in Wakefield, Island, putting us up, letting us do our meetings out there once a month so we can get vets. And do you have a count so far how many we've had come through, Derek? Every month on the last Tuesday week, all 6 states are represented of New England, if not more. There's probably New York, New Jersey coming. And how many vets came through last time?
We signed up, I think, almost. We signed up like 20 vets last week.
New members.
But every month we have anywhere between 5 to 8 vets that are coming. Old vets too, Vietnam era vets. This is a really good contingency of older Vietnam era vets that are coming out. Those guys have been dealing with this for a long time, and it's really good to see them. And part of my recovery, or the way that I feel me helping vets helps is I go to these events and I see these old timers coming out, and it's just great to see them out laughing, having a good time. I mean, if you say that recreational cannabis is damaging to anybody, but it's not, because at the end of the day, that is still medical too, because they're still talking, they're having a good time. I mean, we had a Vietnam guy come out and he was in excruciating pain. He had surgery like, what, a month prior to that, and his legs were killing him. I gave him like half a gram of RSO and the guy was flying and he was feeling great. He was walking around without his cane and without his braces. And he was like, I don't even have my cane, I don't have my cane. And it's like, Joe, you look amazing. And next thing you know, he's talking to other vets, telling them about it. And I mean, they're having a great time, and that's what fulfills us. And just to see them doing that and getting out, it's all because of cannabis. I mean, we all live in proof.
All use is medical use.
Yeah.
And
really is.
You know, a lot of people don't realize that. They smoke weed every day and they're like, oh yeah, I'm just getting high. No, you're normal. Like, you're just becoming normal. Like, you're just getting normal. You're not getting high, you're getting normal.
Mike, with the vet, I heard Jeff Sessions say, give me a break. Marijuana is not a cure for opiate addiction. As far as I know, there is no cure for substance abuse. No one true and tried way. There's no magic pill for it. We need to have this the ability for our doctors to prescribe this during rehabilitation, getting off the meds. Cannabis replaced anxiety, sleep, and painkillers for me. You need to get out and show your elected officials that you're responsible. You're not some stereotype from a 1960s movie, or 40s, excuse me. So it's ridiculous that we're still fighting for this. Get out and talk to your elected officials.
There is no tried and true method for opiate abuse, but the one thing, like, this is the tried and true method. More pharmaceuticals isn't the answer.
If I'm not mistaken, the first medical use in the 70s was for opiate addiction.
It makes sense. We're living proof up here that works.
Anecdotal evidence is evidence of cannabis being able to heal.
Absolutely. I think we got about 5 minutes. We got about 5 minutes left, so if you guys want to just
honestly
wrap it up.
To go into like the whole government, political side of stuff, and over the last, I don't know, probably 6 months, we've gone to a few different state houses to testify for PTSD, chronic pain, addiction, for grow rights, and a lot of these congressmen and legislators, they're receptive to the veteran side of things. They're very receptive to allowing us to be able to create our own medicine and heal ourselves. But I don't know where the pushback is for that, but I feel like they want to accept it, but it's the rec side that scares them. I don't understand it, but
I think something important is the power of education, the power of knowledge, just teaching people about the fact that the United States government owns a patent on cannabis as a neuroprotectant. Hey, did you know that you had an endocannabinoid receptors? Did you know about your endocannabinoid system? Do you know about your CB1? Do you know about your CB2? Do you know about all the things that we can do with our trichomes, about all the byproducts that can be made, about all the research we're seeing being done? And if you talk to people and you arm them with facts, and they're able to go out and they're able to have intelligent conversations, and that's what's really going to help create that paradigm shift and start that grassroots movement. Because, you know, we're on the right path now, and things getting harder is only going to make us work harder.
All right, so I think we've got a few minutes left. I'm not sure. Do you guys have anything else you want to talk about? Any other pressing subjects that you want to pass to these fine people here?
Does anybody have questions?
Yeah, do we have any questions from the audience for anybody?
I mean, we did our job.
One thing that was striking to me was when Derek and I first started getting active a few years ago. We've been looking for women in the area that were veterans that had the same views. It was hard because it was also hard to get women to come to, you know, basically a sausage party, if you will. It feels safe and be in a safe environment. And I think that's something that needs to be evaluated a little bit more. More and more women are stepping up. Maybe that should be probably the next step right here, a topic. Maybe they can talk about women's rights in cannabis.
Well, we have the Women's Veterans Collective, which we're starting up. It's kind of a grassroots position right now, but it's not a cannabis-based approach. It's a holistic approach. It's come as you are, no judgment type of environment. We're going to create a safe haven for women veterans to practice holistically, whether that's through yoga, meditation, art, equestrian therapy, whatever your little heart desires, to balance your life and balance yourself and come back to home, basically. Allow you to feel no judgment, feel a sense of relief, and share your story. So that's a collective that we have starting up there. And I think for other women, because our little group calls us the unicorns, you know, it's really hard to find a woman veteran, let alone a woman veteran that utilizes cannabis. Like, it's next to none. It's nearly impossible.
It's free speaking.
Yeah, it's really, really hard because there's so many stigmas that you're facing right now. You're facing being a veteran, you're facing being a female veteran, you're facing utilizing cannabis, and God knows all the other stigmas that you already have attached in your life, so why throw another one on? So it's really hard to find people within that type of community who can come together. So that's why it's important, like Sean was talking about, events just like this, coming together and allowing yourself to pass around that joint, relax a little bit, throw down the towel, tell your story, share your story. Somebody else has got one just like yours, if not worse, I promise you. So it's just be vulnerable, share your story, come out, and you'll find other people within your similar community. And you'll realize that there's more other people out there just like you, especially the female community, that can make a change. So you gotta break the silence.
Yeah. If you know a veteran, if you know someone that uses cannabis and it's helping them, encourage them to speak out about it. And we really need the support right now. It's a tipping point right now, and we can get this done in a few years, or there's a possibility of going back on us. So.
And it's something that we've all touched upon, but just being able to, you know, talk about what you do and then taking pride in what you do is really going to be important, because a lot of people are going to find that, hey, you're the person I know with the cannabis, you know, answers. So I'm finding that because I'm so, you know, loud and proud, that my family who maybe weren't for it before is kind of coming around, and now they have questions, or friends have questions, and they're like, hey, I saw that you do this, or I saw that, what is the New England Veterans Alliance, or how do I get involved? So maybe just you saying that I'm going to this kind of event, or hey, did you know about this article, just sharing that reputable information, people are going to start coming to you. So that's really good, making yourself a resource.
Darren, I gypped you the mic the whole time. Go ahead, you guys, you want to say?
Just spread the word.
Guys, thanks so much for coming out here. Appreciate it. And thanks to all the veterans who came out on this panel. I appreciate you guys coming out. You guys are great. What's up?
I just want to say thank you to Dakota.
Thank you, Dakota Blue Serna over here. Ginger beauty over there. Mike, thank you.
All right, let's hear it for the veterans panel. Thank you. Terrific. All right, everybody, we have another panel coming up. It starts at 2 o'clock.
Oh, it's so warm in the sun. It is so warm. Hang on. Are you live or are you recording? I'm recording, but it's not live. I don't think. Your phone died on me, literally. I think.
No, group picture if you're on the panel, or not, even if you're